interview. An interview, y'all. I wish I saved it, but he gets up in the middle of an interview and he throws down his EBT card, y'all. His whole EBT card. And, he started crying and all this kind of stuff. And everybody was trying to console him, blah, 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 blah. Well, baby, Chris Brown came through real quick, like, and was like mocking him and laughing at him. And, when I first heard the story, I said, why is this funny? What's going on with Chris? That's crazy. So let's get into a little bit more details. And we're going to get on down and break this down because it's not as cut and dry as it seems, right? So, he was on the back on it's called the Back on Feed podcast, and he was kind of talking about his financial struggles, and he said he literally owned an EBT card and all that kind of stuff. And he said he asked Chris Brown for $25,000, which I kind of stated earlier, only $25,000. And Chris Brown is what her winning. Chris made $90 million from the Breezy Bowl 2020 World Tour. If you didn't know, you know, right? It's Chris Brown. So he was upset because Chris Brown owes him a lot of money, and he wanted $25K to help pay his child support and basic bills. Now, just a little bit more backstory, y'all. Y'all remember Kevin? He had a baby by Eva Marcel. Remember, a baby by Eva Marcel, and she was saying that he wasn't paying his child support, and she didn't want anything to do with him. Remember all that? And remember how her new husband took custody of the baby because they said Kevin wasn't paying child support. That's the child that Kevin's talking about that he lost custody to. Just FYI, okay? Now, this is what Chris had to say. Chris is a whole mess. I was like, Chris. So Chris took to Instagram, and he had something to say. He goes, let me see here, make sure I got it right. He says on Instagram with a sarcastic story saying, you can walk across a burnt bridge, and the only thing better than a troll is a broke one. So, that's cut so deep. You gotta think about it. Remember, Kevin ain't got no money. He got a whole EBT card, and Chris out here rich, and he on his tail. And again, y'all, I didn't know what the issue was. I was like, what's going on? Like, why would Chris say all this? So then Young Thug jumps online. He's like, offering to give Kevin the $25,000 himself, saying he believes Chris would help him, but might just be busy. I don't know if he was trying to be funny. I don't know what Young Thug was doing when he said that. I was like, really? Like, are you serious right now? I think the biggest deal, y'all, I could not figure out what the problem was. Let's see here. Let me pull it. So, when I first heard Chris say this, y'all, I felt the way. And I love Chris Brown. I'm a fan. I was like, Chris. But this is the deal. Let's keep going. So before everybody think Chris is all mean, I love this little someone put up, and they said, "How before y'all get mad at Chris, basically start throwing him under the bus. Remember that Kevin McCall threatened, I'm gonna say allegedly to kill him and his daughter Royalty. Baby, Chris is not giving you money. So now I was like, oh, that makes sense now, right? Now, okay, I remember now. I was like, duh. Okay, so now I see why Chris was like, no, I give you the money. I mean, that's a strong threat. Like, yeah. So that's where all that came from, y'all. That's where the whole basic came from. That's why Chris feels away. And so Kevin burnt that bridge. Now, I will say this. That a lot of people had things to say about Kevin crying. Now let me tell you, I am not making fun of Kevin being down and out. I'm just not. That's not how I roll. So I'm not making fun of him being down. Because people were saying, well, didn't he get some royalties from this and he got a few $100,000? When they say a few $100,000, I don't know what that amount means or what that meant, but I can tell you right now, if he got 200,000, that money is gone. If he got 500,000, that money is gone. That was years ago. And if he didn't invest it or anything like that, that money is gone. Bye-bye. Don't you think? Y'all got to think about we're in 2025, and I don't know what type of lifestyle he had back then, and I don't know what went on. But what I do know is, even if he did get some money, that money probably was gone. It's probably gone bye-bye. So then I want to touch on real quick on the child support accusations, why he didn't pay child support, and he needed money to pay his child support up. So again, Here's the deal. A lot of times when they do child support, like on celebrities and stuff, they base it on what they're making when they're like celebrities, superstars, when they're making big money, like Chris right now. But then their circumstances change, right? So when their circumstances change, the money they should adjust that. But apparently, I guess they're not adjusting it. I don't know all the ins and outs about child support, but I would think that they would adjust. They would adjust it, but clearly they're not doing that. So he owes back child support. Now, another note I want to touch on. Now, this is no shade on Young Thug, so y'all don't come for me. I just got a question, y'all. Why did okay? I think it's cool. It's cool. It's very nice that Young Thug said he would give him the 25K, right? I think that's cool. He offered it. But why did he offer it in public? Why he didn't do it in private? You know what I'm saying? Like, think of y'all got to think about it for real. If you have a friend and all these things that happen to your friend, say your friend is Kevin McCall, he out here, you already looking at him like, dude, you tripping? Stop all this crying. You in public? I'll give it to you. You ain't gonna come? Are you gonna come out in public and say it? No, more than likely, what you gonna do? You gonna text him, DM him, whatever you gonna do, and be like, dude, I got you. I'm gonna need you to come off TV. Stop all that crying. You know what I'm saying? I got you. I'm gonna give it to you. That's what I think we would have done. Again, I ain't shade Young Thug. I just thought that was a different response. Nice, it was nice, but I don't know. I was just wondering why he didn't do it in private versus public. Maybe he felt like he was outed in public and disrespected in public, and Chris dismissed him in public. Maybe he was just trying to save the day. I don't know. Those are kind of thoughts in my head running around my mind. Like, why do people do the things they do? I was just curious about that whole thing. Now, y'all, let me know. What do y'all think about that whole thing? Do y'all think Kevin shouldn't be whining? And do you think Chris should forgive him? It really count up to Chris Brown, but I don't know. Chris pretty set in stone. Like he's not playing with Kevin. But then I heard some other things I'm not gonna go into because I couldn't find proof. But there's some other things that was said. But they clearly Kevin and Chris have a long history. It's not good. It's just a terrible history. At one point, Kevin did write music for Chris, but and he thinks for whatever he thinks Chris owes him money. Chris says he doesn't. So that's the end of that story. Y'all let me know what y'all think about that whole thing. I think it's wild. That's all I got on that. It's extremely wild. But anyway, y'all, if you come into the replay, let me know what you think. You going Kevin or Chris Brown? Now I already know who y'all gonna probably go with. I kind of already know, but I can ask. Okay, I can ask. All right, y'all. Let's move on to our next story. We through talking about Mr. Chris Brown and Kevin, and let's get into the next story. Let's see here. Oh yeah, this is just part of. I didn't even show you. That's what you were just sharing about Chris Brown. I'll show it to you anyway because I had it here. But I think we already covered this part. Okay.